Hello, everybody. What's going on? Thanks for tuning in. Uh, Welcome to Facemask Fantasy. I got you guys solo today. John is off. Probably all of this week. He is visiting family uh, out of town, out of state, actually, and I think his dad is having a little medical procedure. Nothing to worry about. Nothing major. Obviously, we're keeping good thoughts out there for John and his family. But it sounds like everything is all good. But he's helping out family while he's there, taking care of the business that he needs to take care of. So we're holding it down for him uh, on a very important day. It's unfortunate he's not able to be here, but obviously family comes first. But yeah, you guys, I mean, you said it. First of all, thanks to the guys who are already in the chat. Good to see you guys. Nemo, Iron, thanks for stopping in. 44 days. We are season's inching closer and closer, man. And that's this is a big day. Training camps have opened. Training camps are open across the NFL. I'm pretty sure every team has reported at this point. I know the Raiders opened last week. They're playing in the Hall of Fame game, but I think there were about 28 teams opened up camp today. So it's an exciting day. It's an exciting time. The season is inching ever so close, and we're here to talk about it with, as always, everything and anything on the table. Iron, nothing severe to my knowledge. It sounds like everything is all good with John's dad, just a minor procedure. So he's all good. He's just got to take care of family stuff. So he's going to be a little out of pocket. He's not going to be here this week. So I got you guys solo. So I am leaving this up to anything and everything is on the table, whatever anybody wants to talk about from a fantasy perspective. Obviously, the big news today just happened about an hour ago, maybe an hour and a half ago, probably about 90 minutes ago at this point. Julio Jones, Hall of Fame wide receiver, signs with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. 33-year-old future Hall of Famer will now be catching passes from Tom Brady. This move makes sense. Julio, we had speculated that Julio would draw interest from teams like the Packers, teams like the Colts, right? The Colts have a need at wide receiver, and his long-term quarterback in Atlanta, Matt Ryan. Yeah, Rojo, you kind of nailed it. I thought that was a natural fit that kind of made sense. The Colts feel like a contender, or they are a contender. What I was going to say is they feel like kind of a layup to win the division. So not that the Bucks don't, but a team like the Saints, I guess I respect their chances of maybe unseating the Bucks over a team like, say, the Tennessee Titans with Indianapolis. But either way, Julio chooses to go back to the NFC South, link up with Tom Brady, and catch passes from the GOAT. So two of the greatest at their respective positions now working with each other. As it pertains to the Bucs offense, if you've listened to us at all, we are bullish on Mike Evans this year. Top 6, top 7 receiver for the fantasy season. This doesn't change anything for me from that perspective. I am still very high on Mike Evans to have a huge season. His target numbers the past couple of years haven't eclipsed 120. So I understand, there are I've seen some people who are a little bit worried about Mike Evans' target share, but like Antonio Brown is gone, Rob Gronkowski is gone, and the vibes continue and this could change any given day, right? The vibes on Gronk from Bucks camp and those who are close to the situation seem to, outside of his girlfriend, who, that's a pretty close source, they don't seem to feel optimistic that Gronk is returning this time around. So regardless, the Bucks have to be operating as if they're not going to have him. This signing certainly helps with that. Takes some of the pressure off of Mike Evans. Maybe gives a slight dent to Russell Gage, but I'm not all that worried about Russell Gage. I think that was still an incredibly underrated signing for Tampa Bay this offseason. I think it was a really good signing for them. Is 2022 Russell Gage maybe a little better than 2022 Julio Jones? That's something that might be a fair question to ask. Julio is obviously a shoo-in for Canton, right? He's a layup to go to the Hall of Fame. He probably, if he even needs to do anything more at all, it's not much. And he's going to get a chance to put up some decent numbers in what should be a great offense in Tampa Bay. But he's 33 now and struggled through his only season with the Titans. He battled some injuries, but that also is something that can kind of become a common theme with just older players in general. And that's kind of where Julio's at now. So, it's signing with Tampa is awesome. This is an exciting landing spot for him, but he also has to stay healthy, which did not happen for him in 2021. So we'll see if his injury fortunes take a positive turn. We obviously hope so, not just for Julio, but anybody in general. But Russell Gage should be just fine. Clearly was a part of the team. The team had an idea for him as far as their long-term plans, or at least their plans for this year for him. We figured he's going to take the Chris Godwin role until Godwin is up to speed. So, maybe the long term, in the long term, the Russell Gage prospects take a hit. But for the immediate start to the season, the team has been pumping that they're optimistic about Chris Godwin. I have my doubts. I feel like, Chris Godwin should be fine by week 6, week 7. I'm not banking on Godwin being like a smash start week 1. He suffered his injury in November. So, or was it December? It was late in the season. So, it's an 11-month recovery period for a torn ACL. I'm not the team can throw all the fluff out that they want about having, optimism for Chris Godwin. And I certainly hope for Godwin's case, he is ready to go week 1. But I wouldn't necessarily bank on it. That's not necessarily something that I would, want to hang my hat on. So Russell Gage should be fine for, I would say, at least the first month of the season. I don't think Julio Jones takes away from him in that regard. This is a pass-happy offense. Tom Brady led the league last year in passing yards and passing scores. There's enough work to go around with Antonio Brown, Rob Gronkowski out of the picture. You factor in that Chris Godwin's not going to be the Godwin that we're used to seeing for probably at least the first month. Russell Gage should be okay. His ADP, let me double check this. He was being drafted, I think, as like a wide receiver 3, maybe a high end or maybe a low end wide receiver 2 here and there. But if anything, this is going to create a drafting, like a buy opportunity for Russell Gage. I expect his ADP now to drop. His ADP is around 70. If it falls 7, 8, 10 spots, take him, draft him. If he's going in the 8th round, he's going to be, if he's not a guaranteed starter with the Julio signing, he's still like a pseudo starter. I'm not too worried about Russell Gage. There's enough work to go around in this Bucs passing attack. I think I'm still just fine drafting Mike Evans as soon as the top of the 2nd round. If you're not crazy about, maybe you took a running back at the back half of the 1st round, and you're somebody like me who wants to get maybe a running back and a wide receiver with your first 2 picks. Evans is just fine. It's still in the top half of the 2nd round. If Gage's ADP drops a little bit, I'm still taking him. I'm still buying him. That's not a problem for me. And then as for Julio himself, it's probably still a wide receiver 4, wide receiver 5, maybe a little bit more on the wide receiver 4 borderline because of the landing spot. But with an ADP of 192, I mean, you're talking about no risk. That will likely climb, say 15 spots, maybe 20 spots. Does it really, go up that high? Even still, if you're able to draft Julio around like 170, let's say 165, maybe his ADP jumps 35, 40 spots. I'm actually not expecting that, but let's just say it does. You can get him at, with an ADP of around like 160. Fine. Take your shot. Take your shot. 150 picks into the draft. He's suddenly got wide receiver 4 appeal. That's That's not a problem for me. Anybody who lands on the Bucks, any pass catcher who lands on the Bucks offense, no issues there. Julio doesn't change my optimism for Mike Evans, and I'm almost at this point hoping that it creates a bit of a drop in ADP for Russell Gage. I'll take him too. Not a problem. I don't know if it affects Chris Godwin's ADP. Drafters are still kind of confidently drafting him. What was his ADP? 64, so around 65, despite the concern about his potential week 1 availability. Maybe that drops a little bit, but I can definitively say in 2022, Chris Godwin is better than 2022 Julio Jones. So you can still, if you were drafting Chris Godwin before, you can continue to draft him. This is not a red flag about Chris Godwin. The Bucks were in the market for some receiver help. Now they get it with Julio, signing just a 1-year deal. But anyway, let's get to this chat a little bit. You guys are going to be helping me out a little bit today as I fly solo. Rojo had a trade he was talking about with a friend. His Tolbert, DK Metcalf, and 3 seconds for Tolbert. Someone's drinking something good. Yeah. Why would you decline if you're getting DK and several second-round picks for Jalen Tolbert and you don't accept that? You're out of your mind. Give me DK Metcalf and the draft capital. Somebody doesn't know what they're doing. I'm not trying to be mean, but somebody just doesn't know what they're doing. If that's the case, rookie fever was supposed to end months ago. So that's on that guy. He's going to be regretting that. Jalen Tolbert looks like he's, he should start for Dallas at least for the first 6 weeks of the season. I don't know if we can expect Michael Gallup back before November, but I mean, come on, it's DK freaking Metcalf. That's silly business. That's stupid. I agree. That is dumb. That is really dumb. I understand, yes, there is rookie fever. Rookie fever is supposed to end by June. I guess it depends on when you have your rookie drafts in dynasty leagues, but I hold my rookie drafts in May, a week after the NFL draft. I know a lot of other leagues do something similar, or at the very least, they have their draft sometime in May once the NFL draft has concluded. Rookie fever should be long over at this point. That's someone's smoking something good if they're not accepting DK Metcalf and good draft capital for Jalen Tolbert. That's people are out of their minds. Nemo, the Ravens keep signing running backs. Yeah. It's a lot of, it's several things. It can be precautionary. J.K. Dobbins declared himself that he'll be ready for week 1. Obviously, the player is usually going to have more optimism than the team. We'll see if that comes to pass. I feel like the same can be said for Gus Edwards. Edwin Porras, the injury analyst for Fantasy Points, said he kind of expected that Gus Edwards should be available week 1. Available does not equal productive. Remember, keep that in mind. Just because someone's available for week 1, first couple games back from an injury, doesn't mean we can expect Dobbins to average 6 yards a carry like he did as a rookie, or for Gus Edwards to average 4.5 yards per carry, which has been kind of his MO for his career. They're two really good players. They're two awesome players, very effective players when they're healthy, but it's fair to speculate that it's going to take a couple of weeks to get their sea legs under them, and we maybe can't expect high-end fantasy production for the first couple weeks of the season. And, for NFL terms, that obviously correlates to how effective are they on the ground for the Ravens. So, yeah, they add Corey Clement. They drafted Tyler Batty. They have Mike Davis. So there's a collection of guys in the backfield that they can lean on to get them through the first couple of weeks of the season. From what I have gathered, Dobbins and Edwards should both eventually be fine over the course of the season. We just have to keep in mind with ACL injuries, when you return the first year back, right? This is the first year for both of them since the injury. you're not guaranteed to be yourself right away, if maybe at all, for the first year returning from an injury like that. Um, they might be active and available, but they might not be as productive as we want them to be. So it's precautionary. The Ravens are obviously one of the teams that deploy a dynamic rushing attack, and they're going to want to continue to do that with Lamar Jackson at quarterback. It makes sense for them to carry as many running backs as they can. If Edwards and Dobbins are both not completely 100%, it makes sense for them to have as many options as they possibly can. Corey Clement has been a decent player here and there in spurts of his career. Decent depth. I wouldn't read too much into it, though. While I can't speculate right now on how effective Dobbins or Edwards will be week one, they still have a month and a half to get right, or at least to be ready, to be available. Hunter, what's going on? We could do. I could look into setting up a mock. I would have to. Not sure if I can share my screen directly from this kind of bootleg setup. Again, if you're just joining us, John is off today. He usually handles the streaming setup on his end, so he's got the setup as far as being able to share screens and all of that. Not that that's difficult. I'm just not sure if it's something that I can do from this kind of bootleg YouTube setup. So we'll see. We might have to table a mock draft this week, or because I don't want to be talking through a mock, while other participants or non-participants aren't able to actually see it. But I'll look into, I'll see if there's anything I can do as far as getting that set up. We'll see. Still talking about DK. Yeah, I'm not worried that Drew Lock is throwing DK the ball. DK was just fine with Geno Smith throwing him the ball last year. It wasn't until when Russell Wilson returned too early from his finger injury that DK's numbers dropped, but the whole offense was set back because Russ returned way too early, right? Russ came back from the finger injury because the Seahawks season was spiraling out, and he tried to come back early to save the season, and it backfired. He wasn't ready. The offense struggled. He struggled throwing the football. DK's numbers fell off. Even with Geno Smith, he put up good numbers. Whether it's Geno again or Drew Lock, I'm not worried about DK Metcalf. Not at all. And for Dynasty, I mean, it's a Dynasty conversation. DK is still incredibly young. The Seahawks are on a good trajectory to get a good young quarterback next year. That's not going to be a good team. The Seahawks are not going to be good this year, and I don't think they want to be good. They're tanking to put themselves in a position to get one of the top prospects of the 2023 class. Will they be bad enough to get Bryce Young or CJ Stroud? I'm not sure. They'll be in the conversation, but there are still a couple of other options that they can lean on. Is it Tyler Van Dyke from Miami? He's going to go high. There's a couple other quarterbacks that are in this class that there's reasons to get excited about. I think Seattle's going to be in a position to get one of the top prospects at the position, and that's what they want. There's no way they're going to trade for Jimmy Garoppolo. There's no way. So DK is still a great investment for dynasty purposes. If you can get him for Jalen freaking Tolbert, I can't believe I can't believe that guy said no. That would be all you would have to do is look to literally this year, and instantly by week 2 or 3, it's like that's the most lopsided trade in the history of this league. I guess he'll learn. I guess the guy, he better hope Jalen Tolbert's a damn near Hall of Famer. And I hate to put that on Jalen Tolbert, but just for the purpose of the conversation, if you're going to reject DK Metcalf and draft capital in favor of keeping Jalen Tolbert, you must think he's going to be one of the best receivers in the league eventually. I can't make heads or tails of that one. I can't. So there's that. I see a couple comments about Trey Lance. What effect will Lance have on Debo? Hunter's in on Lance. Hunter, I'm also in on Lance. I have planted my flag. Lance is I have him ranked as the QB7 on the season, my QB7 on the season. Members have access to the draft plan. You can read up on that if you care to. I can send another link to the members in case you missed it. The draft plan will become available to non-members, the general public, in the coming weeks. But if you have it, you've seen my thoughts on Trey Lance. I think he's going to be excellent this year. His rushing upside buoys whatever he can do as a passer, and I think he should be just fine throwing the football. The team made it clear today. Kyle Shanahan said today, we're moving on. We're moving on from Jimmy Garoppolo. We have moved on to Trey Lance. This is Trey Lance's team now. And it sounds like Garoppolo is done practicing with the team. He's probably not going to suit up for the team ever again. Now it's just a matter of time. Maybe you wait for an opportunity as far as maybe a camp injury. A contending team could suffer an injury. Maybe somebody wants a veteran backup for a young player. Garoppolo could theoretically fit that mold. The 49ers clearly don't want it for themselves. And then whatever their asking price is, it can't be terribly high. It just can't be, but they have that option. They certainly, they could if they wanted to, but it sounds like that ship has sailed. As far as what it means for Debo and the rest of the 49ers pass catchers in general, it's hard to pin what exactly Trey Lance means for the pass catchers. Debo had 1,400 receiving yards last year. I'm not sure if we can necessarily expect that again as we move to a guy who is unproven. He is, Trey Lance is an unproven player right now. I'm very bullish on his fantasy upside just because of the rushing capability. But, will he throw for more than 4,000 yards? Will he get to 3,500 yards? This could be an offense that looks a little bit like the 2019 Ravens. I don't know if they necessarily throw the ball a ton. What were Lamar's final passing numbers in his MVP season? Obviously, he was a unanimous MVP. He led the league in passing scores with, I think it was 36 that year. How many yards did he have in that excellent 2019 season? 3,100. He had 3,100 passing yards. So he came through on incredible efficiency. Where he crushed it was he ran for, did he run for like 1,200? He ran for, 1,200 yards. He ran for 1,200 yards that year. So he was awesome. He totaled 4,700 total yards from scrimmage. But he only threw for 3,100. Do we see a similar offense in San Francisco? If Trey Lance is only throwing for 3,000 yards, it's going to be hard for Debo to come through on his second round draft capital. Now, maybe he gets hyper targeted, but he's going to have to come through on some incredible efficiency. And he also he's been on the record. He doesn't want to shoulder that much of a load running the football for a couple of reasons. One, the advanced wear and tear on his body that comes with rushing the football. And two, he feels like it's affecting his contract negotiations in a negative way. Debo is, at the end of the day, if the coach calls his number, he's, he'll go out there and make the play, but he doesn't want to be this wide back role. He kind of self-proclaimed it last year, but he doesn't want to keep doing this. Debo wants to be looked at as exclusively a wide receiver for a variety of reasons, for money and for longevity. So if you take away the majority of the rushing work that Debo got last year and scale back the amount of receiving work that he's going to get in a less pass-friendly offense, Debo's an awesome talent. He's an excellent talent. I'm just not sure if the situation will result in him paying dividends as a second-round pick in redraft leagues. And the same can be said for George Kittle and Brandon Ayuk. When Trey Lance got in, it was incredibly limited sample size. There's not much to go off of. Trey Lance only had, what do you have, 2 starts, played in 6 or 7 games, threw like less than 90 passes total on the season. So we don't have much to go off of. But in the limited sample size, George Kittle did not have big games in any of the games where Trey Lance had extended run throwing the ball. So Kittle's value is a little bit of a concern. I guess the guy who I'm the most bullish on, I don't even know how much I could say bullish, but Brandon Ayuk is the cheapest of all 3 of these guys from an ADP perspective. You can have Brandon Ayuk 80 picks into a draft. I'm just checking Underdog Fantasy for Brandon Ayuk. Where's his ADP at? 89. You can have him 90 picks into a draft. So Brandon Ayuk is a guy that I would be willing to take a shot on because he's like 70 picks cheaper than Debo. He's probably about 20 picks cheaper than George Kittle. If it's a low volume passing offense, even though we expect it to be a good offense, give me the cheapest guy. That's Brandon Ayuk. I love Debo. He's an excellent talent. But it's going to be hard to replicate those numbers in an offense that probably is going to be throwing the ball a lot less. It's going to be tough. But I agree that Trey Lance is this year's Jalen Hurts. He's a threat. He might be their best red zone running back. Trey Lance is 265 pounds. Is he like 6'5"? I think Trey Lance is like 6'5", 6'6". Double check this. He's 6'4". All right. I want to check his. I want to check all the measurables on Trey Lance. But I think he's around like 260 pounds. Oh, I was wrong. He's 225 pounds. Okay, I was a little off base. He's not like a Dante Culpepper size. 6'4", 225. But even if he's playing like 225, 230, I mean, that's their best running back. No disrespect to Elijah Mitchell, but that's the 49ers' best option running the ball on the goal line in the red zone. He's only about 10 pounds off from Josh Allen. He's about an inch shorter and about 10 pounds lighter than Josh Allen. And we all know how that's worked out from a rushing perspective so far. Trey Lance is going to eat on the ground. He is going to absolutely eat running the football. New Jerusalem, what's going on? Thanks for coming in. Good to see you. I think Trey Lance is going to be fantastic this year. He is absolutely one of my number 1 targets at the quarterback position, in one quarterback, in super flex. It doesn't matter. He is a quarterback I want on my fantasy teams this year. And you could be worried about, you could be concerned like I am. You could be concerned about the volume that the pass catchers are going to get, but it's not an issue for Trey Lance. If Trey Lance throws for 3,000 yards, say 25 touchdowns, I don't know if that's conservative, but let's just say that's a nice round number of 25, chips in 800 yards on the ground, maybe another 6 or 7 scores, that's going to be a QB1. It's going to be a mid-tier QB1. And he's got upside for more in that offense. I love Trey Lance this year. I think he's going to be fantastic. Let's see. Just continuing to go through the chat. Appreciate you guys coming in and asking questions and for talking points today. Again, John is off today, so I'm flying solo, but training camp opened. Football's back officially, guys. It's an exciting time. It's the unofficial start to the season. So everything is on the table today. Whatever anybody wants to talk about is on the table today. Leonard Fournette is apparently he's lost some weight. I didn't see that. I didn't see that update, but I was never worried about his weight to begin with. He had plenty of time from minicamp to shed that down. He made light of it on social media, right? He photoshopped his head onto like some large body. I don't know if it was somebody specific, but he posted a funny tweet, just like "see you guys in training camp" or something along those lines. Um, so I'm not worried about it. I'm not worried about him as far as I'm not worried about him as far as his playing weight. Fournette knows what he has to do, right? He knows what he needs to do as far as getting into game shape over the course of the offseason. He'll be fine. He's an easy RB1. I've seen him ranked as high as the RB7 in some people's rankings. I don't have him quite that high. I personally have him as the highest RB2. I put him as my RB13 on the year. But I mean, in this offense, maybe the Julio Jones signing takes a little bit away from Fournette as far as targets, but this is a great offense that's going to have ample scoring opportunities, and Fournette is the clear number one option in this backfield. So no concerns from me when it comes to Leonard Fournette. As far as Justin Fields, just going down the list again, anybody, if anyone who's coming in, if any question, any and all questions, any and all topics are on the table, I'll get to them as quickly as I can or as soon as I can. Not quickly. I don't want to just brush through different topics. But anything that anybody wants to talk about, I promise I will get to. Justin Fields, as far as this year's Jalen Hurts, yeah, it's possible. We were looking at the Eagles this time last year thinking that's not that exciting of an offense, right? Their number one weapon or their number one wide receiver was a rookie in Devontae Smith. They had some good tight ends. Zach Ertz was still on the team going into training camp. They had Zach Ertz and Dallas Goedert. So they had some intriguing tight ends. The consensus was still a little bit higher on Miles Sanders. Obviously, that has since changed. But the backfield had some intriguing players. Kenny Gainwell had 7 touchdowns last year. 7? Was it 7 scores? He had a good touchdown number last year. I guess the significant difference between the Eagles last year and the Bears this year, while there weren't too many expectations about the Eagles, their offensive line was markedly better than what the Bears have now. That's the only concern. But when you have a bad offensive line and a young quarterback who is mobile, that's not a bad thing for a guy like Justin Fields. I know I've said this before. I'll say it again. Young quarterbacks who can run often have to find themselves overcompensating for a bad offense, for a lack of talent around them on offense. Young quarterbacks on bad teams are often good investments for fantasy football because they are running the ball a lot. They're running more because they're scrambling. There might not be if their receivers are not that good, which is the case with the Bears. Outside of Darnell Mooney, there's not much to speak of. If a quarterback's guys aren't getting open, the quarterback is going to run. Justin Fields absolutely has 800-yard rushing upside. The only concern is, at least with Jalen Hurts last year, the Eagles' offensive line was actually good. The Bears' offensive line is bad. That's all. So we have to keep that in mind. Like Darnell Mooney, like Mooney a lot. Not sure if he's can be a team's long-term X receiver, wide receiver 1. And there's not, where, again, the difference between the Eagles and the Bears last year, the Eagles had 2 good tight ends coming into the season. The Bears have Cole Kmet, who has been a breakout candidate for a couple of years now, who everybody really likes, especially in the fantasy community, but he hasn't done it yet. Ertz and Goddard were much more established, especially Ertz, of course, at this time last year going into the season for the Eagles than Kmet is for the Bears. So last year, Jalen Hurts had Devontae Smith, Dallas Goedert, Zach Ertz, Quez Watkins, right? A decent group of backs in the backfield: Miles Sanders, Boston Scott, Kenny Gainwell, and a good offensive line. Ended up the QB6 or QB7. When we were looking at that pass catching group, especially the receivers, and saying to ourselves, this might not be a good offense. But Jalen Hurts got it done. Can Justin Fields do a similar thing? Now, Trey Lance is in a great spot to replicate those numbers because his options in the passing game are awesome. Justin Fields, his options in the passing game aren't. Now, where you could maybe make an argument where the Bears have an advantage, where the 2022 Bears offense has an advantage over the 2021 Eagles offense, is I think it's fair to say that David Montgomery has had a more impressive stretch over his, in that short time frame over the course of 2020? It was 2020 in the second half of the season than anything that Miles Sanders has done. Miles Sanders was solid in the second half of his rookie year, but since then has barely made a peep. Has not done much. Montgomery didn't have the most impressive season last year. He averaged less than 4 yards a carry, but again, this Bears offense was bad, and a lot of that has to be attributed to the coaching staff. Matt Nagy is a net negative. He is addition by subtraction getting rid of Matt Nagy. So that's good. That's a positive for the Bears offense. And with the lack of receiving options available for the Bears, I think Matt Nagy's got receiving upside for the Bears offense. No, David Montgomery has sneaky good receiving upside for the Bears offense. I got to imagine he gets a bunch of dump offs this year. Him and Cole Kmet. Because the receivers outside of Darnell Mooney are N'Keal Harry and Byron Pringle and rookie Velus Jones, who was, a fourth-round pick? He's 25, so he should... Here's the thing with older rookies. They may not be spectacular, but he should be as pro-ready as he possibly can be, being already 25 years old. So maybe that helps. I'm not off Fields, but Fields is still... It's difficult for me to rank him, to have QB1 upside. Jalen Hurts, because of the lack of receiving work. The rushing production, yeah, that buoys him. It certainly does. He's got tier 1 rushing upside. Fields did run for 100 yards in a game last year. He absolutely has tier 1 rushing upside. Will it be enough to crack the QB1 conversation? We'll see. Again, you can look at the 2022 Bears receiving offense and objectively think to yourself, the 2021 Eagles receivers going into the season weren't much better. And Jalen Hurts finished as a mid-tier QB1. So, and Justin Fields is being drafted as a QB2. So if you believe in Justin Fields, I mean, the time is now this year to pounce, to go draft him. Because his ADP is pretty low. People have, their last memory of Justin Fields is watching the Bears sputter through the season. But they got a new coaching staff. There should be a little bit more competence on this coaching staff because there's not too... You can't get much lower than what Matt Nagy brought to the table. That offense was anemic. The game plan was anemic. I think the quarterback play will benefit this year. So, yeah, you could take your shots on Justin Fields. Bit of a discount compared to guys like Jalen Hurts and Trey Lance. For sure. For sure. As far as Debo's draft capital, I was originally... on Underdog, if you've been joining any best ball drafts, now this isn't full PPR, it's half PPR. But Debo's going in the back half of the second round, sometimes as soon as the middle of the second round. Not the third round. If I can get Debo in the third round, I'm taking that shot all damn day. In the second round, when I can get Mike Evans... It's a bit tougher of a sell. I might even rather have a guy like T. Higgins, who I know is attached to a great offense and a great young quarterback, and was a wide receiver 1 last year. Debo was the wide receiver 2. Make no mistake, he had an excellent season. But this offense is probably going to look a little different than it did last year, the 49ers. Third round? Hell yeah. Second round? I can have Mike Evans. I can have Tyreek Hill. I can have T. Higgins. I don't know if I want Debo before, say, like the 2-3 turn. So, something to think about. Nemo, you want to draft closer to John? The draft order will be finalized for the members. We do have a members only league that is kicking off. We just got to wait for a couple more of the members to join up. Hopefully they do that soon. And we got a beautiful rivalry budding between John and Nemo. I'm excited to see the results of your guys' matchups this year. Should be good. Which side do I like better? Lamar, McCaffrey, and Saquon. Holy hell, probably that side. Versus Herbert, Dalvin Cook. Is that it's got to be Dalvin. That can't be James Cook and Fournette. The answer is side A. The answer is side A. Christian McCaffrey and Saquon Barkley. I mean, you're talking about guys. I know a lot of you might scoff at this, and it's at the point where it almost feels a little difficult to say. But well, Christian McCaffrey definitively has overall RB1 upside. Saquon does too. Saquon has overall RB1 upside. We've seen him do it. Well, it was in a full PPR format his rookie season, but even in half PPR, Saquon was the RB2. And I think he's going to catch more passes this year. You know, all through minicamp, all we reported was that Saquon was catching an insane amount of passes. And it makes sense. He's coming off a 2 injury-riddled he's coming off of last year wasn't injury-riddled. He sprained his ankle on a fluky play in week 5. He missed a couple of games. He came back. He just wasn't himself. But on top of that, the Giants' season went in the complete toilet by the second half of the season. Saquon was facing impossible odds. Before that, he tears his ACL. Before that, he missed a few games, was still an RB1 on a points per game basis, though. In 2019, that was for Saquon. But if Saquon can get back to, this is lofty, but he caught 90 passes his rookie season. Eli Manning was just dumping the ball off a whole lot. But Saquon caught 90 balls. Daniel Jones should be doing the same thing. He should. Daniel Jones should be doing the same thing. Dumping the ball off to Saquon as frequently as he possibly can. There's no doubt. So if he does that, Saquon's in the overall. If he's doing that and Saquon's catching 4 or 5 passes a game on top of whatever he does on the ground, Saquon's got overall RB1 upside. And you don't need me to tell you about Christian McCaffrey. The guy remains the only threat to average 30 fantasy points a game. Maybe it's more like in the 22, 23, 24 range this year, but still, it's a significant amount of points that you can hang your hat on when he's healthy. And then you add Lamar in there. Yeah, it's side A. Side A. I love Herbert. He's going to be awesome this year. He's got 2 excellent weapons to throw to, Keenan Allen, Mike Williams. He's got one of the best passing-catching running backs out of the backfield in Austin Eckler. And he himself, Herbert, is one of the best young quarterbacks in the game. He's already a top 10 quarterback in the NFL, period. So, big on Herbert. Dalvin Cook, past couple of seasons when he plays, he averages 100 yards from scrimmage. That's damn good. He's also dealt with some shoulder tears, which, again, according to Edwin Porras, the injury analyst for Fantasy Points, that is an easy, high-risk re-injury that can take place, are those shoulder tears. So we have to be careful with Dalvin Cook. If we're acquiring Dalvin Cook, I need to make sure I have Alexander Mattison this year. With Fournette, I'm big on Fournette. I think he's going to be a low-end RB1, high-end RB2, maybe a little bit more along the high-end RB2 lines, all things equal, if everyone's healthy, which they won't be. But if Lenny survives the injury onslaught of the first few weeks of the season that often comes up, yeah, he should be an RB1. Should be an RB1 in points per game. But he doesn't have overall RB1 upside. Christian McCaffrey does, and Saquon Barkley does. And Lamar is awesome. Lamar is Lamar. Side A. Rojo can't wait to watch the Jets. Man, I can't either. They're going to be fun. They should be good. Well, at least on offense anyway. The question mark is the offensive line. Apparently, Mekhi Becton reported today, and he's in great shape. You love to hear that. That's awesome. And then they added a bunch of talent in the draft. They drafted Garrett Wilson 10th overall. They traded up they traded up high in the second round to get Breece Hall. Garrett Wilson, Breece Hall. They signed a couple tight ends in free agency with CJ Uzomah and Ty Conklin. Elijah Moore looks like he's a upper echelon, budding upper echelon player to maybe a potential star in the making. And then Corey Davis is a solid veteran who is still on this team. And Michael Carter proved he could do a little something last year with not much to work with, not much to go off of. Should be a good offense. And then you got you got Zach Wilson, Cougar Slayer out there. The big arm is on the record. The escapability from the pocket, something we know he can do. He had some strong, good, timely throws last year. Wilson did. This should be a good offense. The Jets should be a really good offense. From what I've gathered from Jets beat reporters, I'll just say this: in the backfield, it sounds like it's shaping up to be not 50-50 for backfield touches, but maybe like a 60-40 split in Breece Hall's favor. I thought it might be a little bit more along the lines of 70-30. But Michael Carter has clearly carved out a role for himself in this offense, and I think he's going to be. I think he's going to be a strong, solid contributor for them. But the Jets are going to be good. The Jets are going to score points. They're going to make it difficult for some teams that that aren't the best on defense. They're going to be a tough out with their firepower on offense. They are young. They are ascending. This is an interesting Jets offense. And it's a cheap offense to invest in for fantasy purposes. Breece Hall's got an ADP in the 4th round. I think Elijah Moore goes in like the 5th or 6th round. After that, Garrett Wilson can be had, I think, almost 100 picks in. Let me double check this. Corey Davis can be had like 130, maybe 140 picks in. Just double checking. Yeah, Elijah Moore can be had 70 picks in. That's hardly breaking the bank. Garrett Wilson can be had 110 picks into a draft. Corey Davis, 167. That's dirt cheap. I think Michael Carter's going in that range too. Let me double check that. And the Jets beat is speculating that it's going to be a little bit more of a timeshare than maybe we anticipated with Hall and Carter. That makes Carter a very interesting investment. Breece Hall's ADP is 42. I was expecting that. Michael Carter's ADP is 143. You can have Michael Carter 100 picks later than Breece Hall. You could absolutely do worse than that. Yeah, the Jets are going to be good. And Zach Wilson is the GOAT. Let it be known. Slayer of Cougars. We are all Zach Wilson. As far as Joe Burrow, I did see that report today. He's getting his appendix removed. Apparently, it's a whole lot of nothing. I can't speak to an appendix surgery. What's the recovery time for that? Iron said he should be out of commission for maybe a couple of weeks. You will probably be able to return to work. This is just a random default Google search to work to normal routine after 1 to 3 weeks after surgery. So in a worst case scenario, Burrow misses some practice time. Maybe he doesn't play in the preseason at all. Not that he should anyway. He doesn't need to, unless he wants to. But yeah, it's going to be a good Jets offense. They should be solid. Or sorry, it should be a good. I mean, I already talked about that. The Bengals, well, everything's riding on Joe Burrow. He should be fine. Might miss some practice time in training camp. Something tells me Burrow can. That's something that Burrow can afford. You don't love that he's missing practice time, but this is also not a situation where I'm overly concerned about. Not overly concerned about Joe Burrow as far as the appendix. What I am a little worried about with the Bengals is is anybody superstitious in here? Are there any week-to-week concerns due to a potential Super Bowl hangover, right? When you make it all the way to the game, when you make it all the way to the Super Bowl and you lose, it's a tough pill to swallow. You worked your ass off to get there. All season long, you're one of only 2 teams left standing. It's for all the stakes, all the marbles. It's the biggest game you'll ever play in, right? It's a lot of pressure. That's hard. That's tough. To lose and then to come back the very next season, I mean, you're asking a lot. We'll see what happens with the Bengals. But as far as the short term, as far as any concerns with Burrow's availability, for the purpose of this conversation, for the purpose of worrying about the appendix, I wouldn't put too much stock into that. I think he'll be fine. Let's see here. Yeah, so he'll rest for a couple of weeks. Maybe he doesn't play in the preseason. Were we really expecting to see Joe Burrow in the preseason anyway? Maybe for like a drive or two. He'll be fine. Nemo, yep. I have multiple people in my life who are like, "What? So what? You're just not available during the football season?" The answer is correct. I am not available. I'm available for y'all. I'm available for this channel. I'm available for you guys, and I'm available to figure out what my own fantasy teams. But goodbye, social life. We'll see you in March. It's okay. Alex, what's going on? Good to see you, man. I need you to join the members league, man. When you get a chance, there is an invite to that. There's an invite to the league in the Discord. I can resend it if you need it. But you, sir, are one of the 3 we still need to join up. So get on in there. Should be in the members section of the Discord. We'll get that going. which means I guess I'll take an opportunity to plug really quickly. Thanks for those that are in here now. If you are not a member and you are interested in becoming a member of this channel, you can click the first link. Did I put it in the description of this video? I might have forgotten. You may have to check other videos on our channel. But if you are interested in becoming a member, it is the first link in the description of all of our videos, all of our most recent videos. Now I'm just checking to see, but yeah, I did. It's the first link in the description of this video and all of our most recent videos. Gives you some information about different perks. If you are interested in becoming a member of this channel, one of those perks includes joining fantasy leagues with myself and John. That is one of the perks. You'll also get early access. It's not so early access at this point to my draft plan. I have put my redraft draft plan, my plan of attack for 2022 out. It is available. It's available for members. It's going to be available to the general public in the coming days and weeks. With obviously we will tinker it and make adjustments to it as training camp unfolds and as the preseason gets underway. That's just another perk, is early access to that. But if you're interested, you can check out, there's details in that link. You can also join the Discord. You don't have to be a member to join the Discord. We'll just keep the conversation going over there. You can ask questions. You can just bring up general topics. We're building an awesome community in the Discord with great people who are always willing to talk shop, always willing to talk fantasy. I try to be as available as I possibly can, but obviously that's not always the case. If you've got a question, you can just drop it in. The rest of the community will be, whoever's available, I'm sure, is more than happy to offer their thoughts, which is something that I absolutely encourage. We're promoting a fun community here as far as helping each other out, having good dialogue, having good discourse, and all that good stuff. So that's my little shameless plug for the channel, for anyone who may not be a member or for anyone who is not in the Discord. You do not need to be a member to join us in Discord. Second link in the description of this video and all of our videos. Just taking a look at a couple of things. Just checking some news around training camps right now. Some guys have been put on the PUP list. I know Sterling Shepard went on the PUP list. I think Gus Edwards went on the PUP list. Michael Thomas is on the PUP list, but the Saints have come out and said they don't expect him to be on the PUP list for very long. Clyde Edwards-Helaire has been put on the PUP list. Whatever at this point. I hate to say it, but at this point, it's just like, okay, whatever with Clyde Edwards-Helaire. If you play Dynasty, especially on Sleeper, don't forget to check if you have guys that are on the PUP list. You can put them on your IR. Put your guys on the PUP list on IR. That allows you to make some waiver ads for free before the preseason actually kicks off. So, nice little tidbit. Move your leagues over to Sleeper if you haven't done so already. And again, if you play Dynasty, you can move your guys who have officially been placed on the PUP list. There will be a red P next to their name. If you're not familiar with it, just scroll through your roster, check and see. If you do have somebody who's on the PUP list, you can move them to your IR spot and make a pickup for free for the offseason. One thing I do personally, I am the commissioner of like every single league every league that's important to me. I play in some casual leagues where I'm not the commissioner, but where I am the commissioner, especially in my couple of dynasty leagues, I expand the rosters during the offseason, much like what the NFL does. And then after the preseason ends, I drop it down to by 10 spots. So it's just an opportunity for people to carry more players, get an extended look at players during the offseason. Guys who qualify as their your end of the roster spots. But it's the same line of thinking for the NFL. And I'm always a proponent of however the NFL operates, I want my dynasty team to operate in a similar fashion, in a similar way. So I expand the rosters through the offseason. And then after the final preseason game, I usually give my my league mates a couple of days. And then I drop the roster down by 10 spots, 12 spots, however many spots I add. I'll cut them down before the season. You have to make your cuts by then. If you don't, nothing happens, but you're not going to be able to make any transactions until you actually get down to the correct roster limit. So fun little extra part of the of dynasty that that I like to include. But with the pup list, make sure you check your roster. Make sure you check your roster. If you have anybody who's on the pup list, move them to IR for now. We're not playing any games anytime soon, not for another 40 days or more. So having guys in your starting lineup is like, it looks nice now, but you're not scoring points for another few weeks. Go ahead and move them to IR. Pick up some other guys for free. Pick up some dudes for free for at least the preseason, right? Because then even if they get activated off the pup list, again, we're not playing for another 7 weeks. You can leave them there until you absolutely have to move them off. So, nice little tidbit, hopefully, anyway, for anyone who's got a player on their dynasty roster who's on the pup list. Max, what's going on? Thanks for joining up. Anyone who's joining us now or recently or hasn't been with us for the entire time, I am flying solo today and most likely the rest of this week. John is in, I think he's in Wisconsin, spending time with family, helping them out around the house. I know his dad is having a minor procedure. I think all is well. I think he's good, but that definitely affected John's availability for this week. So he is not going to be around. He should be back next week. Maybe we'll see him later in the week, maybe Thursday, but I'm not 100% sure on that one. But regardless, we obviously hope the best for him with his and his dad. Again, it sounds like everything's fine, but still something that has to happen. So he's doing what he's got to do. Family obviously comes first. So yeah, I'm keeping this very casual today. Training camp is opened up. I don't have I don't have the NFL Network turned on right this second. But if anybody else does, if there are any other developments that come across your ticker or your screen, feel free to let me know about it. We can chat if there's anything worth talking about. For the most part, it's just transactions of putting players on the pup list. And the Julio Jones signing so far today. The other name that I think went on the I guess the non-football injury list, or I think it's the NFI list, is Marquis Brown. It is a hamstring injury. This same exact thing happened last year with Hollywood. I wouldn't be too worried about Marquis Brown. I'm not quite sure he's ever participated in a training camp practice. I'm not worried about that. Not worried about Marquis Brown and this hamstring injury. I allowed myself to get a little worried about it last year, and it turned out to be not a big deal for at least the first half of the season. He was wide receiver 1 through the first half of 2021. I'm expecting similar results in Arizona now that DeAndre Hopkins is suspended. So Marquis Brown gets added to the pup list. The last other item, the little last piece of news that I did almost forget about, but I'm now happy that I didn't because it's absolutely noteworthy. Seahawks running back Chris Carson has officially retired, at least according to Ian Rappaport and multiple other reports on Twitter today, and Sleeper picked up the notification as well. Carson suffered a neck injury last year. It knocked him out for the rest of the season. I think he sought second and third and fourth opinions to continue his playing career. We speculated on this channel. Anytime you hear about a neck injury, especially a neck injury with a running back, a neck injury with a player who plays as violently as Chris Carson does or has throughout his career, that's tough. That's really difficult. You're talking about a guy's livelihood. You're talking about the rest of his life, like his long-term health. Spinal injuries are no joke. There is no coming back from one from severe spinal injuries, and it wouldn't take much, I would think, for for a terrible outcome to take place if he got hit in the wrong spot, if he came back and tried to make a comeback. So he did the right thing. Carson did the right thing retiring. I couldn't be happier for him having, he was a 7th round pick and played his way to that second NFL contract, got his money, got his hopefully life-changing money. You root for situations like that. You root for those 7th round picks, those late round picks where the odds are completely stacked against them to get that second NFL contract. Chris Carson got it. So hats off to him. Hell of a player through his tenure in Seattle. Was one of the toughest runners to watch over the past few seasons. Chris Carson officially retiring with a neck injury, which I am happy and relieved to hear. Because when you're talking about neck injuries, when you're talking about spinal injuries, you're talking about a guy's you're talking about a guy's quality of life at that point. You're talking about his well-being. And so we obviously want his quality of life to be as good as it possibly can be. So salute Chris Carson, got his money, got his bag. All the best to him, all the best to him and his neck, whatever comes next after football. He was awesome. He was a lot of fun to watch. I never had too many investments in Chris Carson. He always felt like, I don't know, I always avoided him. I can't explain why. He was never a guy. I guess that was still a time where maybe I was going running back kind of consistently to start my redrafts. And then by the time Chris Carson was getting drafted, I was looking at wide receivers. That might be what happened. It wasn't until last year last year was the first time I was like, yeah, Chris Carson, I'm going to invest in Chris Carson. And unfortunately got hurt. So that's my problem though. That's not Chris Carson's problem. I was a little too late to the game on him as far as having him on my fantasy teams. Live and learn. But salute to him. Hell of a career, especially when you consider a 7th round pick. Beat the odds. That's what it's all about, right? That's what it's all about. So shout out to him. I will say, I do think Rashad Penny is the back to own in Seattle. I know that they drafted Kenneth Walker in the 2nd round, but when they drafted Rashad Penny in the 1st round, they didn't go away from Chris Carson. I can't help but follow that trend and think to myself that Walker is going to be a deep 1B or a number 2. I don't even know it's going to be a 1A, 1B situation. I think Penny's the 1 and Walker's the 2. I don't think there's going to be a ton of receiving work available. I mean, there might not be a ton to go around with bad quarterback play. Maybe Penny's an RB2. Maybe Walker's like an RB3. Kind of feel it's a backfield that I'm not going out of my way. Not going out of my way to target. I like Walker. I do. And the great Graham Barfield for fantasy points is very bullish on Walker. I think my gut tells me to lean in favor of Penny, the veteran who's riding some momentum from last year. Right? Finished the season as an RB1 in points per game over the second half of the season, or at least the last 5-6 games of the year. I'd rather have Penny than Walker. But on the whole, it's not a situation that I'm absolutely like crazy about. So anyway, that's a little tidbit about the Seattle backfield. But yeah, Carson was a lot of fun to watch. Iron, I did see how Aaron Rodgers showed up today. Freaking Nick Cage over there in one of his movies. Aaron Rodgers is doing his best Nick Cage impression. Yeah, he looked awesome. You love to see the flow. Little wife beater and jeans action. Um, let's see. Max, I saw. Yeah, thank you for that reminder. Jeremy Mcnichols did sign with the Steelers today. Pass catching running back. He played for the Titans last year. What were his numbers? I actually picked him up on one of my dynasty squads last year. He was a free agent. Was it my I'm blanking on his effect on the actual numbers that he put up. Let me see if I can grab those. Regardless, I mean that's it's an interesting landing spot. Jeremy McNichols, where is this guy? Come on, there he is. I found him. Let's see. Last year, he's 26 years old. I didn't realize that. Why can't I find his stats? This is annoying. My bad, guys. I just want to look at whichever. Regardless, the Steelers are one of the few teams left that commit generally to one player in the backfield. There's not too many workhorses anymore in the NFL. Najee Harris is that guy. He's not somebody who, presumably, based on the history of Mike Tomlin, he's not somebody that the Steelers are going to pull off the field. Not for Mcnichols, not for Snell, not for Anthony McFarland, not for whoever else they may have in that backfield. Okay, 41 carries, 156 yards. Didn't score a touchdown, or at least on the ground. Caught 28 balls, so he's definitely a little bit more of a pass catching specialist. 28 balls, 240 yards, and one receiving touchdown. So that's decent little work. Decent little work. But again, with Jeremy with the Steelers, they're one of the few teams that still pretty much deploy one guy in the backfield, and they drafted Najee Harris in the first round. I know the speculation that Harris's workload gets scaled back a little bit, 380 touches last year, 381 to be exact. I don't know that that's the case. I think we might be seeing another 350 touch campaign, which I guess by default is less work. Yes, it is less work than 381. But I think Najee's still going to see all the work he can handle as the Steelers transition to a new quarterback, whether it's Trubisky or Kenny Pickett. I think it's going to be Trubisky, and maybe Najee doesn't catch as many passes, but he bulked up. He talked about how he bulked up this offseason, presumably to carry as large of a load that the Steelers want to give him or that he can handle. And I think that we're going to see that play out. I don't know that Mcnichols takes too much work away from Najee Harris. It's an interesting depth signing. But generally speaking, the Steelers' RB2s and 3s are not fantasy relevant. It's Najee and it's Najee and that's it. Yeah, Samaje Perine goes to the PUP list. So Chris Evans, man, Captain America to the moon. It's going to get some should get some valuable practice time with the ones in the hurry up offense. For better or worse, I'll say mostly worse. Zach Taylor took Joe Mixon off the field on third down last year, especially in the second half of the season. And for whatever reason, it was happening a lot in the Super Bowl. Like, get your best damn players on the field in the Super Bowl. Like, what are you trying to pull? I don't know. I'm not a head coach, clearly. But regardless, if the Bengals want to spell Joe Mixon on third down, this is Chris Evans' time to shine because P. Ryan was in that role last year. And if he's going to miss a little bit of practice time here being on the PUP list, Chris Evans on the way up. So, yeah, worth it if you play best ball, 17th or 18th round pick. If you're in a shallow redraft league, Chris Evans will likely go undrafted unless maybe you draft Mixon and you're just not enamored with anybody else with your last pick. So you just go ahead and grab a potential investment option, a potential stash in Chris Evans. Outside of that, he's going to go undrafted. But if the Bengals are going to pull Joe Mixon off the field on third down, could be some value there. We'll see. Johnny, what's going on? I know we were talking some trade talk in the Discord earlier, but looks like talks have progressed to something else. Cooper Kupp and Keenan Allen for Jamar Chase and DJ Moore. Do it. Do it. You're getting Jamar Chase and DJ Moore. You're trading 2 wide receiver ones for 2 wide receiver ones. The difference is Jamar Chase is a top 2 dynasty asset, a top 2 non-quarterback. If you play Superflex, he's a top 2 non-quarterback dynasty asset. If you play 1 quarterback, he's a top 2 asset, period. You can get Jamar Chase and DJ Moore for Cooper Kupp and Keenan Allen, and you're getting Jamar Chase. Do it. Do it. I know it hurts to lose Cooper Kupp. I know it hurts to lose Keenan Allen. I know you like Keenan Allen, but you're getting Jamar Chase and DJ Moore? Do it. Do the deal. I say do the deal. Anybody else feel free to chime in on that one. And if you disagree, feel free to check me with whatever thoughts you have. But if you can get Jamar Chase, I know Cooper Kupp is a top 5 dynasty asset. Let's take quarterbacks out of the equation for a second, whether you play Superflex or not. Cooper Kupp is a top 5 dynasty asset. Jamar Chase is top 2. Keenan Allen Keenan Allen is better than DJ Moore right now, but DJ Moore is the better dynasty asset than Keenan Allen. Keenan Allen's 30. DJ Moore is, 25? Hey, he's 25. You're getting younger. You're getting younger in both scenarios. And with Jamar Chase, you're getting better. Do it. Do it, Johnny. Do that deal. Go get yourself Jamar Chase. Get yourself Jamar Chase and then pour yourself a drink and pat yourself on the back. Yes, do that deal. I can't say it enough. Do that deal. Jason, what's going on? Thanks for stopping in. I'll tell you the same thing that I told Alex. Alex and Jason, you guys got to join our members-only dynasty, or not dynasty. It's our members-only redraft league. The link is in the Discord. Go ahead and join up whenever you get the chance. But it's good to see you. Chuck, man, what's going on, dude? It's good to see you. Football's back, man. I think I did see you just join the Discord. Thanks for joining in. Glad to see you there. It's gonna be, we're looking forward to keeping that conversation going all season long in the Discord. I love that we have that set up now. It took us a little while. We had multiple people on this channel that were telling us during the season, start a Discord. We dragged our feet a little bit on it, but it's up and running now, and we're happy to have you in there. And then thanks for joining in. Trying to kick off a dynasty league. You're gaining some interest now, so that's good. Trust, once you fill it, everybody will be all on board. Should you do the draft for the vets and rookies? It depends on how fast you move, or it depends on how fast your league moves. You could still hold an individual rookie draft. The time hasn't run out. If you wanted to, you could do the vets. You could do the draft for the veterans, for anybody who's a second-year player or older. You can do that and then hold your rookie draft. I think what a lot of people do, Chuck, in that situation, is the rookie draft is where you could also potentially draft like undrafted free agents too. Anybody who goes undrafted in the vet draft is also eligible or available in the rookie draft. Now, you're still going to take Breece Hall, and you're still going to take Garrett Wilson and Chris Olave and Kenneth Walker ahead of most likely any veteran that slips through the veteran draft. But yeah, you can. It's up to you. Poll the league. Set up a poll. Just be like, hey, should we do it all vets and rookies all at once, or should we do vets and then rookies? Majority wins. You could do either one. It's not too late. If you wait until like the end of August, if you wait another month to actually hold your draft, then yeah, it's probably easier to just do everything in one fell swoop. But you still have time if you want to do a separate rookie draft. You still got time. Oh, Jason. Okay, I didn't realize you had a. You just need to make an account. Okay, yeah, join in. Yeah, just make an account. Make an account and move all your leagues to Sleepers. It's the best platform. What do I think you could get for the 103? In a one quarterback league, he has 108 and a mid-late pick next year. I mean, if you can get a 2023 first to fall back 5 spots, so you're probably giving up the right. So it's full PPR. The rookie ADPs right now, Breece Hall is still I assume going 101. And then it's probably something like Chris Olave, Garrett Wilson, maybe Kenneth Walker, but in full PPR, maybe he falls to like say 4 or 5. So I guess you might be giving up the right to draft someone like Chris Olave. But I mean, if that means that you can pick up Treylon Burks, Jameson Williams, and a 2023 first, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that return. But yeah, ask for the 2023 first as well. If he doesn't go for it, then he doesn't go for it. But I would, that's what I would offer. It's, your selling point is, you're moving up 5 spots to the top. You're moving into the top 3 of the draft. You want the pick? Come with it. Come with it with your offer. Because you're falling all the way back to the 108. And you're going to be taking a guy who the vibes are down on. I'm not down on Treylon Burks, but the general consensus vibes are down on Treylon Burks right now. Jameson Williams here's another guy who opened the season. I think he is. He opened the season on the PUP list. He's not going to practice during training camp. He's probably going to miss the first few games of the season. Jameson will. And I put a video out a couple of days ago about Jameson Williams. I would love to be wrong on this, but I'm not sure that we see him this year. And you can sell that, Jason. You could say, like, look, if I'm falling this far, I might be taking Jameson Williams, who I like, but we might be seeing a redshirt season from Jameson Williams. The Lions are not ready to compete yet. They got great pieces on offense, but Jared Goff is meh, and the defense still is most likely not going to be that good. And so if the Lions are out of playoff contention by November, which they usually are, remember they were 3-13 last year, 3-13-1. If they're out of the playoff race by November, what's the incentive for the Lions to rush back Jameson Williams? So, like, use these, Jason, use these as your talking points, as your selling points, to be like, you want the 103? I'll move back to the 108, but you got to include your 2023 first. But if you can get that haul, I would do that. And yeah, Max, obviously Najee, you get it. Najee's workload comes with that risk. His volume means he could be set up to miss time. And he nearly approached 400 touches last year. Actually, did he eclipse 400 total touches when you include the playoffs? Did he get 19 carries? It's that dreaded benchmark, right? The 400 touch threshold. I'm looking this up. I know he had 381. He had 381 touches in the regular season. What did he have in the playoffs? How many times did he touch the ball? It's just opened up a random, entirely different tab for me. Come on, I just want to look up his play. Oh, he only touched the ball 14 times. Still, okay, he fell 5 touches short. He had 390. When you include the playoff game, the Steelers' playoff loss to Kansas City, Najee had 395 touches last year, damn near 400 touches. Yeah, that comes with risk. I guess the issue is the question is, if Najee misses time, is there anybody in this Steelers backfield that you want, right? Is there any Steelers player in this backfield that you would be interested in having in Najee's absence? It's probably a full-blown committee. Like Benny Snell picks up work. Jerry Mcnichols is maybe your third down back. Maybe Anthony McFarland mixes in. They've signed a couple undrafted free agents. Like, does one of them make the cut and somehow get mixed in here and there? If Najee has to miss a game or more, that might just be a backfield to entirely avoid, Well, I mean, and it depends on the matchup too, right? Are they playing a team where they should win the game and they should have a lead in the second half? Then maybe Benny Snell is the guy. Najee's out that week? Are the Steelers on the road and underdogs? Maybe Jeremy McNichols is the guy you want to pick up. If you expect them to be, they have to throw the ball. They're going to be in more passing down situations. So they deploy a pass catching back a little bit more frequently. It's going to be matchup dependent in that situation, I would think, Max. It's going to be matchup based. I guess we'll see what happens. Always with Chase. Nene, what's going on? Nene disagrees with me about the trade with Johnny. We're not on the same page about us. There's no. I don't know how you can't predict a second-year slump for Jamar Chase. He's a top 2 dynasty asset. When we're talking dynasty, we're not just talking about redraft. When you're making a move, it's not just for this year, it's for years to come. Cooper Kupp and Keenan Allen are older. Jamar Chase is already, it's not like Jamar Chase is like some developmental project that you're trying to hang your hat on. If you're getting 8 or 9 years younger, but the guy is not a surefire thing, then of course, yeah, you don't want to make the deal. Jamar Chase is right up there with Justin Jefferson as a top 2 dynasty asset, taking away the quarterbacks. That's not a question. He didn't get lucky. You don't get lucky, catching 1,400 receiving yards as a rookie. And he's in a great offense himself. I know Stafford is great. I know Herbert is awesome. I know those quarterbacks are awesome. Herbert's not top 10. He's top 3. It's top 3 or 4. So you don't have to sell me on the LA quarterbacks. I know they're both great. But it's Keenan Allen we're talking about, who is 30 years old and maybe only has a couple seasons left. Jamar Chase has a decade left. And DJ Moore has put up 3,000-yard seasons with terrible quarterback play and got a modest quarterback upgrade in Baker Mayfield. DJ Moore is what's the word I'm trying to say? He's not a slouch. DJ Moore is a damn good player. 3 straight 1,000-yard seasons. He's only scored 4 touchdowns each of those seasons, but again, he got a modest quarterback upgrade this year. It's not great. Baker Mayfield's not anywhere. He's obviously the worst quarterback of the collection of receivers we're talking about. Of course, Baker Mayfield's the worst quarterback of this group. That's not close. But DJ Moore is damn good. So yeah, I do want to make that trade. And we can disagree on this. If you'd rather keep Kupp and Allen, that's fine. But those guys they're older. They're older than both of those. And it's, again, Jamar Chase and DJ Moore they're not like minor league prospects. You know what I mean? It's not like a baseball trade where you're giving up studs now for guys who aren't even in the league yet. It's not like that. I'm fine. I'm fine with the trade. I'm okay with it. But if you want to keep look, stick to your own guns, of course. If you believe in Kupp, of course you believe in Kupp. Everybody believes in Cooper Kupp. If you want to hang your hat on those guys for a couple more seasons, that's fine. But you can get Jamar Chase for the next 10, 12 years. It's going to be impossible to acquire him in a trade within the next couple of seasons. So get him now. So yeah. But that's okay. We don't have to, we don't always have to disagree, or we don't always have to agree. But for dynasty purposes, I want the guy with the highest long-term upside and longevity. And that trade, it's Chase. It is. Rojo, we're working on it. Jason said he's been busy, which is totally understandable. We know you guys have lives. We understand. He's working on getting an account set up, and he's going to join up. Alex, if Alex is still in here, hopefully he joins up as well soon. We just need to track down AB. That's all we need to do. We just need to track down AB. I don't know where he's at. I haven't seen him for a little while, but that's okay. We'll find him. And appreciate it. Appreciate the kind words as always, Rojo. Baby steps, right? One day at a time. Okay, let's see. Max has got a Dynasty Superflex trade. He wants Pitts and is offering Akers, McLaurin, and 2 2023 seconds. No. No. No, I know the value's there. If you have Pitts, man, that's a unicorn that I don't want to give up. I think Pitts is the tight end 2 this year over Mark Andrews. And he's the dynasty tight end 1. Kyle Pitts is the dynasty tight end 1 already. Cam Akers is intriguing, but he's a question mark coming off of that Achilles injury. He should get most of the work in the Rams offense. The Rams were willing to give him as much work as he could handle, just 5 months coming back from an Achilles injury. But the jury's kind of out on him. Terry McLaurin is great. Terry McLaurin is awesome, but he's already a little older. How old is Terry McLaurin? Was he like 27? I hate that we have to talk about 27-year-olds being old. He's 26. Will he turn 27 this year? Yeah, he will. In September, he turns 27. So Terry is entering, John loves this phrase, his age apex season, that age 27, 28 range for wide receivers. So you're looking at Terry potentially hitting his peak now. But Pitts is going to be, Travis Kelce for the next 10 years. He will. I'm not afraid to put that on Kyle Pitts. He's the dynasty tight end 1 already. He had 1,000 yards receiving as a rookie. That never happens. Travis Kelce didn't do that. Mark Andrews didn't do that. I have to double check what what Gronk's numbers were. I don't think Gronk did that his rookie season. Like, name me a rookie tight end. I'm just checking Gronk's numbers now. Name me a rookie tight end who's at 1,000 yards receiving. No, Gronk had 546 receiving yards in his first year. Pitts had 1,000. I Max, I am not giving up Pitts unless you give me your arm, your leg, the deed to your house, and your firstborn child. Like, and even that dude, he's that dude. He's a unicorn. He's an easy slam dunk top 6 or 7 dynasty. In Superflex, I guess maybe he's more like a top 15 to 20 asset because you got to factor max. I'm not doing it for that. I don't know if I'm doing it if he changes those 2 2023 seconds to 2 2023 firsts. That's how high I am on Kyle Pitts. I don't want to trade him. And I can speak for I have Pitts in one of my dynasty leagues. I'm speaking from a personal investment of him. I don't want to trade. I don't want to trade him. Jamar Chase, I guess Jamar Chase would get it done. Justin Jefferson would get it done. But even then, and those guys are incredible. You're talking about, number 1 and number 2 as dynasty assets overall, Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase. Tight end is harder to find than wide receiver. You've got the unicorn of unicorns. And this year, I think his value goes way up because Marcus Mariota, he supports wide receiver 3s, but he also supports tight end 1s. None of Marcus Mariota's wide receivers ever did much of anything when he was the starter, but Delaney Walker was regularly a tight end 1 with Mariota as his quarterback. I think Pitts gets hyper-targeted this year. Hyper-targeted. I think for redraft, I'll just say for redraft purposes, in the 3rd round, I think he's an auto smash. I'd rather have him than Mark Andrews, who's going in the late 2nd round. I think Pitts stamps himself this year as the only thing that was missing was touchdowns last year. He only scored 1 on a bad offense. And again, this will be a bad offense in Atlanta as well, but he's probably going to be peppered with even more targets than he got last year. Just based on the offense, based on his quarterback. I do not want to trade Kyle Pitts. I don't. If anybody else has any other thoughts on Kyle Pitts, go for it. But for Akers, Cam Akers, Terry McLaurin, and a couple 2nd-round picks, nah. He's got to do better than that, man. And if your team is loaded, Pitts helps you win this year. I feel like there are, and not you, Max. I feel like there may be some people who are maybe thinking the Falcons offense is going to maybe not be good this year. Pitts is a future asset. Nah. He'll help you win this year. He will. I'm willing to bet on that. Willing to bet on that. Nemo, yeah, we might be drafting. I don't know if it'll be next week. Hopefully it's within the next week. If it's within the next couple of weeks, we'll see. We need to track down AB. Rojo, and I'm just now reading Rojo is kind of agreeing with me. Yeah, it's not a bad offer. I'm not trying to don't come back and tell that guy screw you. That's a bad offer. It's not a bad offer. It's Pitts. It's Kyle freaking Pitts. I just don't want to trade him. I'm keeping him. And even if you were rebuilding, I would say Pitts is one of the best rebuilding assets there is. He's only 20. He's going to be 22, right? He's going to be 22 years old. 21 right now, I think. He's 21. He's not going to be 22 until after the season starts. Even if you're rebuilding, even if your team was bad, I'd say you can't pay me all the 1st-round picks and young players in the world. But if I was rebuilding, I would need Jamar Chase and 2 1st-round picks for Kyle Pitts. Pitts is an excellent building block for now and for the future. I'm hanging on to him. Hunter, you have potentially 3 top 10 fantasy quarterbacks. Dynasty and pay to keep keeper league. I'm a little confused. Is it a dynasty league or is it a keeper league or is it like some combination of the two? If it's super flex, do nothing. If it's super flex, do nothing. Because you can wait. You can wait out what happens with Watson. And then once we know his situation, once we know if he's going to play this year or how long we have to wait for him to play this year, or if he's waiting until 2023 to have to play, at least you still have Kyler and Trey Lance to hang your hat on. I would do, if it's dynasty and like super flex, I would do nothing for now. If it's one quarterback, if it's a one quarterback dynasty league, the guy who's got the highest value right now, even though he's like all in the news because there's a clause in his contract that he has to do homework every week, I would dangle Kyler because he can get you the most. He can get you the most value, I would think. If somebody wants to give you more for Trey Lance than they do for Kyler Murray, then so be it. But I would think that's not the case. We've seen Kyler perform as an overall quarterback one for fantasy before. We just can't say the same for Trey Lance. He just hasn't played yet. If it's one quarterback, I would shop Kyler because I think he would get you the most in a return. Unless there's somebody who's gung-ho about Trey Lance because he's younger and he's a little bit more of an unknown. Whoever's willing to give you the most for whatever name, then sure. But if it's super flex, I would do nothing. I would do nothing. I would keep all those guys. Let your strength and you like, let's say all 3 of these guys are, let's say if it's a super flex league and all 3 of these guys are all playing each week and each one is a threat for 25 fantasy points each week and the third guy is kind of wasting away on your bench, or maybe that's how you feel, he's wasting away on your bench because he's scoring 25 points but doing nothing. That's fine. He's not scoring anything for anybody. He's excellent depth for you. Kyler or Trey Lance, both running threats. One of them gets, if one of them gets injured, has to miss the game, boom, you don't miss a beat. Let that remain a strength for you. But if it's one quarterback, the guy I would dangle is Kyler. I mean, you could ask the league, like, who's, quarterbacks for sale, whoever you want, like, let me know, come with it. I would think Kyler would give you the best return. Maybe somebody's bullish on Trey Lance. And if they're willing to give you more for Trey Lance than they are for Kyler, then by all means, go for it, because then you still have Kyler Murray, who, again, we have seen perform as the overall quarterback one from a fantasy perspective in spurts. Not even spurts, for the duration of like half a season, and then he got injured. That's just going to happen. Injuries happen, but we can't bank on that happening all the time. But yeah, let me know if there's any more context. Keeper league, non-superflex. If it's not superflex, Hunter, I would shop Kyler. And I know that sounds crazy, but the reason I'm shopping Kyler is because he can get you the most value. He should be able to get you the most of it in a return. Lance is not too big of a drop off in one quarterback, but he's probably not getting you the return that Kyler can. And then you'd still have Deshaun freaking Watson in your back pocket. Dangle both. Whoever gives you the most for either one, go for it. But either you shouldn't have to settle for like an aging running back or a middling wide receiver just because it's a one quarterback league. Both of those guys are excellent. Kyler is proven. Lance has all the upside in the world. Watson's value hangs in limbo right now, so you can't really. I can't imagine you would be able to do a whole lot with him, and you would certainly get the least amount in return for Watson right now. Nemo, yeah, I want to do a guillotine league as well. I guess, did we rule out that we're doing it this year? I don't know if you need 18 teams to do it. I know that that's something that John has mentioned he's interested in doing. The format can absolutely change for the purpose of the league that we're setting up. But I am very interested as the channel continues to grow, and if we grow more interest and people want to join members only leagues with us, we could do guillotine, we can do zombie, whatever other formats that people are interested in. I'm totally on board with anything that or something other than your traditional redraft format. And Chuck, yeah, poll if you're the commissioner. That's how I try to do it to keep things diplomatic. Everybody gets an opportunity to have their say, but it's only two choices. You get two options, and it's just one or the other. If it's down the middle, if it's like it's an even split, the commissioner has the beauty of making the call that you ultimately want to make. If you're the one where it's like let's do vets and rookies separately, you can be like that. I'm the deciding vote. And if you don't like it, well, screw you guys. You made me the commissioner, or I volunteered and nobody fought me on it, or whatever. So yeah, I always find polls to be effective because it gives people an opportunity to voice their opinion, but at the same time, you have final say if it's a close vote. As far as IDP, I have not played it, at least from a dynasty perspective. I've played it I've done stupid variations of it in redraft where we like played one defensive player. Like we played the team defense and one IDP. We got rid of it. I've never played it. I know there are a ton of people. It's a huge part of the industry. It's a huge niche of the industry, I guess I should say. But I follow multiple people on Twitter who play it and they love it. I guess it depends on how deep you want to go, because these guys are going to be in your draft. These defensive players are going to be on your draft. And then you have to gauge like, okay, when do I want to take the best young defensive players? Like where do they go? When do I start sacrificing offensive players to build my defense? How many defensive spots? Some people do a whole defense. Some people make it so that you have to, you're starting 10 offensive and 10 defensive players. Like it gets really in depth. It gets super serious. I would poll the league again. If there's interest in it, then sure. I personally can go without it. If I'm playing in a league and the majority wants IDP, I won't fight it. I'll take part, but again, it's just another layer. It's like, how much work do you want to put in? How much research do you want to do? These are all answers that you and your league mates have to kind of ask each other. How much of an effort do we want to put into this? It would certainly make it would be as realistic as you could possibly get, right? Your rookie drafts are going to be, they could go any which way. You could go any way. There's going to be years maybe where the best player to take in your draft is a defensive player. I don't know if I can envision actually seeing that playing out, but I'm sure there are scenarios. Chase Young went second overall a couple of years ago. I think in a rookie draft, he didn't go in the top 5. He had to have. And there were multiple highly touted quarterbacks that went in that draft. But I'm sure somebody who plays IDP needed a pass rusher, right? They were like, I don't, my team's doesn't get a ton of sacks right now. I need a guy on the line. I need one of the best blue chip prospects on the line. I'm going to draft Chase Young. So like, again, it's like how in depth, how realistic do you want to make this? Again, it's like I throw polls to the league. Do you want to do IDP? Yes, no. If yes passes, it's like, all right, how many spots? Like, and then now you got to, maybe get a little bit more nitty gritty, but it's like, do we want 3 guys? Do we want 6 guys, 9 guys, or how many IDP spots do we want? Do we want 5? Do we want 6? But focus on the yes, no vote first, right? Because obviously if the majority of the league is saying, no, I don't want to do it, then obviously that takes care of that conversation altogether. But But if they say yes, then it's like, okay, now we got to figure out how many. Because if you say yes, it doesn't make sense to do just one or two. If you're going to do it for real. Start 4 or 5 defensive players minimum. 1 to 3 doesn't for dynasty doesn't make sense to me, but that's just me. But yeah, ask the league. Take their pulse, take their temperature, see what they want to do. Johnny, you're okay. It's post trade sadness. Look, I understand, man. I get gun shy making trades too, but I'll tell you what. You got Jamar friggin' Chase, and I agree, Rojo. He's gonna be awesome. Maybe this year, I have been on record saying, do the Bengals have that Super Bowl hangover this year? Do they go through a little bit of a slump, maybe through some lull periods this year? They could. They absolutely could. We've seen it happen before. The Kansas City Chiefs, the almighty Kansas City Chiefs last year with Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce and Tyreek Hill, formerly Tyreek Hill. They had a stretch in the middle of the season last year where they were struggling to score. I think there was like a 4 or 5 game stretch where Mahomes threw like 1 touchdown or less. Feel free to check me on that. But I don't think or maybe 2 touchdowns or less. I think there was a 4 or 5, 6 game stretch where like they played the Raiders and Mahomes lit them up. But outside of that game, like the offense struggled. It was just like a Super Bowl hangover. They still made the AFC Championship game because they're the Chiefs. But it could happen. But for longevity's sake, for the purpose of his career, Jamar Chase is going to be awesome, man. He's so good. He's so freaking good. The fact that you didn't have to give up draft picks, I know it's Cooper Kupp, right? It's Cooper Kupp and Keenan Allen, so it's good that you didn't have to give up draft picks, but there would be, I know for a fact there would be other people in that scenario asking for a draft pick in addition on your, like you have to give up a draft pick because you're getting the good young players. You didn't have to do that. You sleep well at night, Johnny. You did fine. You did good. Yep. We're on the same page here. They're like that's a winning combination for years to come, Burrow to Chase. He's awesome. He's already awesome. Like almost 1,500 receiving yards in his first season. It's going to be awesome. Yep. What's the price for Jefferson? The deed to your house. Like, the same as Chase. Multiple picks, multiple good young players. So I don't know if Max is still in here, but Max got offered for Kyle Pitts, Cam Akers, Terry McLaurin, a couple second-round picks. If I had Justin Jefferson and somebody came at me with that offer, I would say try again. Not even close. Turn those 2 seconds into 2 first-round picks and give me a guy that I feel a little bit stronger about at running back, and then we can talk. Like, Justin Jefferson is for me personally my wide receiver 1 for Dynasty. I mean, the guy's totaled 3,000 receiving yards in his first 2 seasons of the NFL. That is stupid. With Kirk Cousins as his quarterback, who isn't bad. Kirk Cousins is solid. Kirk Cousins is a solid, I'll say above average quarterback who has put up some decent numbers. It's just the Vikings haven't won games, so the quarterback gets blamed. When in reality, it was probably that damn coaching staff, Mike Zimmer's overrated ass, and his archaic offense. That's the thing. Justin Jefferson had 3,000 receiving yards in a run-first offense from the 1990s, from the Stone Age. Like, you can't, in my mind, you can't ask for enough for Justin Jefferson. The guy is stellar. He's going to have a monster season this year. I have no reason to believe he can't set yet another career high for a season in receiving yards. He had 1,600 last year. He can do more than that. This offense is pass first now. They're going to run 11 personnel all the time. They're probably going to run a ton of shotgun. They're going to pass the ball on first down for the first time in Jefferson's career. The guy's a freaking monster. I don't want to give him up. There's 3 guys I don't want to give up: Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, and Kyle Pitts. Like, the price is your firstborn. The price is too much. Jefferson, Chase, Pitts. Studs that will help you win this year and for the next 10 years. And in Pitt's case, maybe like 12. Maybe all of these guys the next 12, 13 years. Yeah. It's hard to put a price on him. I think he's like the top asset in Dynasty. I do. I think Jefferson is the top non-quarterback in Dynasty. And in one quarterback, he's the top guy. He's number 1. In Superflex, it's obviously Josh Allen and Justin Herbert. I guess Jonathan Taylor would also apply to this conversation of guys where it's like, I just don't want to trade you. If it's Superflex, Herbert, Allen, Mahomes, Lamar, okay. But Justin Jefferson, man, he's not too far below, even in Superflex. Dude's a monster. Jason, appreciate it. Yeah, do what you got to do. Do what you got to do, but we're looking forward to kicking this league off the ground. We're going to do a slow draft, so we can go at your own pace. So you'll have 8 hours to make a pick. Should be plenty of time over the course of a day to, take 5 minutes to figure out what you want to do at some point. But yeah, we'll kick things off when the league is full. Just need you to join. Just need Alex to join. I don't know if he's still in here. And we need AB to join. I don't know what happened to AB. We haven't seen him for a little while, but I'm sure he's around. Let's see. Nene's asking about Tutu Atwell. I just want to see where he is on the Rams depth chart. I know he had the setback last year with the injury. I mean, there aren't too many better offenses to be attached to, even as a player who's kind of on, he's kind of an unknown. Let me see if I can find the Rams depth chart. Like, where does he say? And obviously take the depth chart that team put out now, take it with a grain of salt. Obviously, training camp is only just getting underway. Your starters, of course, are going to be Cooper Kupp, Allen Robinson, and Van Jefferson. It looks like Tutu Atwell is part of the second string. And he's also listed at second string as a punt returner and a kick returner behind Brandon Powell. So he'll get every opportunity in the preseason, to prove his worth on. The vibes were good during mini camp, according to the ESPN report. He was a second round pick, so he's got the draft capital. How tall is he? I know he's kind of on the smaller side. He's 5'9". That's not bad. It's not like he's 5'7". He's still only 22. Could he see time in 4 receiver sets? Yeah, you could see time in 4 receiver sets, but he's obviously firmly behind Kupp. He's firmly behind Robinson, and I would say he's firmly behind Van Jefferson as well. Van was a wide receiver 3 for fantasy last year. He had a good season. By the way, draft Van Jefferson. He's being drafted like a wide receiver 6 right now. Draft Van Jefferson in your redraft leagues. It doesn't make sense he's being drafted as a wide receiver 6. He was a wide receiver 3 last year. His ADP is like 165 or something like that. That's too low. But as far as Tutu, he can make an impact on special teams. That's probably his easiest, clearest path to playing time. 4 receiver sets, he should get his opportunity. And if anything happens to Kupp or Robinson or Van, maybe more likely Van, because if Kupp or Robinson have to miss time, it might be a little bit more of a committee with that guy Skowronek. I might not even be saying that correctly. Brandon Powell will mix in. But Tutu's got the draft capital, second round pick. That's always good. Still only 22 years old. He's got time to continue to grow, but he's going to need 4 receiver sets to come through. I wouldn't be drafting him in 2022 redraft leagues. He's a hold in dynasty just because he does. I mean, there's no value right now. He missed. He only played 10 to 15 snaps on offense last year. There's nothing we can go off of right now. So he's a hold in dynasty because you're not going to get anything more than maybe a third round pick for him. So it's like, nah. And probably not even that. He didn't do much in his rookie season, which is okay. But yeah, he's going to need to make an impact on special teams. And then maybe he finds his way into like some 4 receiver sets on offense. So, Hunter, we talked about your one quarterback situation. I would, just dangle Kyler, dangle Lance, see what you can get for either one. Take the best deal. I assume Kyler gets you the best return. But if Lance gets you the best return, then trade Lance, keep Kyler. But don't settle. Those are good. Those are damn good young options. I would think you should be able to get a good young receiver, or maybe even like an Antonio Gibson for one of those guys, even in one quarterback. I am not down on Antonio Gibson the way the consensus is. Doesn't make sense to me. Iron Part. You were talking about you're just saying Parsons. Was that about Chuck's IDP question? Because he would certainly be up there. He would certainly be up there as one of the top defensive players off the board. There's no doubt. Who picks up the slack, Nate, for Devontae Adams? I think it's Aaron Jones. I really do. I think it's Aaron Jones. The receiving core is the thinnest that Rodgers has ever had in his career. The consensus is that Julio Jones is out of the picture, right? There was a lot of speculation. I thought that the Packers made sense as a landing spot for Julio, but it doesn't happen. Julio goes to Tampa. The Packers receiving core is Alan Lazard, Sammy Watkins, Christian Watson, and Romeo Big Time Dubs. Am I missing anybody from the Packers receiving core? Randall Cobb. Sorry, excuse me. How could I forget? That's a committee. There's no big name stud there, or not even big name. There's no one name that I'm keying in on there from the receiver group. I think it's Aaron Jones. Aaron Jones set a career high in catches last year with 52. I think he catches 65 to 70 balls this year. I think both Packers running backs. You want to take? You want if anybody want? I'm not big for hot takes. I kind of hate hot takes. But if you ever want to hear a hot take from me, here's a hot take. Both Packers running backs this year are RB1s for different reasons. I think Aaron Jones is the guy who picks up the slack as a pass catcher. I think he catches 65 balls out of the backfield. He's an upper echelon pass catcher at the position. Aaron Rodgers trusts him. He has been a monster in the red zone before as a runner and receiver. And A.J. Dillon is more than capable of handling a larger workload if you really wanted to give him one. He led the backfield in carries last year. I know Aaron Jones missed a couple of games, but it still happened. A.J. Dillon led the backfield in touches. He could do that, or carries. A.J. Dillon led the backfield in carries. If I said touches, I misspoke. He led the backfield in carries. I think combined with catches, Jones still led the backfield in overall touches. But it was close because Dillon led the backfield in carries. I think he could do that again. I think he should do that again. I think Aaron Jones should be like a reverse. I've said this before. And I still believe this. I think Aaron Jones should be like a reverse role of how the 49ers used Deebo Samuel last year. He's a running back who will play as a wide receiver, or that's how I think they should use him. Because Aaron Jones is a complete running back. Damn good pass catcher. I think he catches 65 plus this year. I think it's Aaron Jones. I think Aaron Jones should be drafted at the top of the second round. If you want to draft DeAndre Swift ahead of him, okay, fine, fair. But man, if you can get Aaron Jones between picks 12 and 15, between like picks like 13 and 15, 13, 14, 15, 16, somewhere in that range, I'm doing it. I'm doing it. I'm taking one more shot on Aaron Jones. I know he's getting a little older as far as running backs go. I think he's going to be 27, but Aaron Jones has in himself, the Packers have never given him like a Derrick Henry workload. Aaron Jones should be a little bit fresher as far as 27-year-old running backs go. The guy who I think picks up the slack is in the backfield. I think Aaron Jones has another RB1 season in him. I do. If you want to take a shot on one of the receivers, if you're thinking to yourself, I'm asking about the receivers, not the running backs. Well, it's Allen Lazard seems to be the favorite, I guess. I'm kind of intrigued. I might get burned for this one, but I'm kind of intrigued by Sammy Watkins just because of his dirt cheap ADP. Where's Sammy going? And especially now, Julio Jones isn't walking through that door. I know Watkins is an injury risk. I know. But his ADP is like 172. Oh, he was placed on the NFI list. God damn it. Hamstring injury. I mean, he's got 40 days to get healthy. I guess by default, because of let's see how severe the Watkins hamstring injury is. It could just be precautionary. Like they're just giving a veteran extra opportunity for rest during training camp. Maybe that's the case. So, okay. Like Allen Lazard, with an ADP of 80, that's not too bad. The thing is, I mean, he caught 8 touchdowns last year, but he only had 40 catches for 500 yards. Those numbers should obviously all go up. Devontae Adams leaves behind a 150 target floor. So Lazard should just naturally pick up some extra slack. But relative to the name recognition and what he's done in the past, he's not the cheapest. Allen Lazard, his ADP is 80. You got to go, in 12-team drafts, you gotta draft him in the 7th round. In 12-team leagues, you got to take Allen Lazard in the 7th round. It's kind of steep. Keep an eye on Sammy Watkins. He looks like he went on the NFI list. He can come off at any time. Hopefully he's okay. Obviously, you never want to hear about a hamstring injury, but it could be maintenance for a veteran. Could just be maintenance for a guy who doesn't need that much time in training camp. But I'll stick to my original answer, Nene. I think the guy who picks up the slack is Aaron Jones. I think A.J. Dillon becomes more of a I don't even want to say glorified, he's a pseudo starter, glorified backup. He's not, I think he becomes more of a mainstay in the backfield. I think those dudes should see the field the entire time. I would put Aaron Jones and AJ Dillon on the field at the same time as many times as I can. You can line them both up in the backfield. Aaron Jones runs a route. AJ Dillon actually takes the handoff. Now you're playing your mind games. Aaron Jones maybe takes maybe it's like one of these sweep plays where AJ Dillon's a blocker for Aaron Jones, and then or maybe they're both running routes. Because AJ Dillon can catch the ball too. I don't want to make it sound like AJ Dillon is just a stone hand carry the football. He's not. AJ Dillon can catch the ball too. AJ Dillon's awesome, man. AJ Dillon's great. And in Lambeau, up in Lambeau, when it starts to get cold in the second half of the season, and you got to tackle AJ Dillon, that sounds awful. That sounds terrible. I would hate to have to do that. I would hate to have to try to tackle AJ Dillon in 0-degree weather. That's a nightmare for opposing defenses. I want both Packers running backs this year. I want both Packers running backs this year, and I'll take Aaron Jones in the second round, and I'll take A.J. Dillon as soon as the 5-6 turn, maybe even a little bit sooner. I like A.J. Dillon more than I like Elijah Mitchell. I like A.J. Dillon more than I like Josh Jacobs. I love Antonio Gibson. That's probably kind of along the same wavelength of where I'm taking those guys. I like A.J. Dillon more than I like J.K. Dobbins. A.J. Dillon, man, get him on your team in your redraft leagues. If you have to take him in the 5th round, take him in the 5th round. I'm telling you guys. Both Packers running backs. Both Packers running backs. Grab them both. Grab them both. Big fan of both of those guys this year. And yeah, I think the Packers will be just fine on offense. I think a lot of that will be due to well, obviously Aaron Rodgers, but I think that's going to be on the backs of the running backs. I think they're both going to be high-end performers, man, this year. Top 15. Both have RB1 upside. Aaron Jones, all he's been is an RB1 in his career. A.J. Dillon, I think, has RB1 upside this year. I'll take him in the 5th round. I'm not afraid of that. Not one bit. Johnny, you were thinking about making a play for Diggs, but it literally just a trade just went down. That's okay. You made your move. You made your big move. I wouldn't be too worried about that. You got your guy. I'm telling you, man, pour yourself a drink. You got yourself Jamar freaking Chase. Like, congrats on that. Seriously. Jason, thanks for joining up. Appreciate it, man. That's awesome. The draft says, I know we have it currently slated to start tomorrow. That's probably not going to happen because we still need Alex and we still need AB to join up. Unfortunately, AB is not in the Discord, so I haven't been able to get a hold of him, so I'm not sure where he is. But yeah, we're gonna have to postpone that, but that's okay. Sammy Watkins. There's a bunch of people now on Twitter who are saying he's going to get cut. So maybe I like the idea of taking. Again, maybe I get burned for this. I don't know how burned you can get for taking a shot on a guy like with an ADP of 170. I don't know if Sammy Watkins gets cut. The Packers better be awfully confident in their rookie wide receivers to make a move like that. I don't know. Is there a guy waiting in the weeds up there in Green Bay that we don't know about? Where's Hunter at? Any whispers? Who's there? I mean, the guy. I guess Robert Tonyan. I almost forgot to mention Robert Tonyan. I think Robert Tonyan also. He's the thing with Robert Tonyan is he's also on the NFI list. He's also ruled, and Christian Watson is. The Packers got a ton of guys like on the injured list already. So if Robert Tonyan's healthy, he should pick up the slack. He should pick up the slack. I think he's another, he's a threat to score 8 touchdowns this year. Obviously, he's got to get right from the injury. It sounds like he's maybe at risk of missing week 1. But that doesn't mean he's out for the season. He might miss the first couple of games. But I mean, Amari Rodgers, I guess Amari Rodgers is maybe like a sneaky name to keep an eye on. Malik Taylor, I don't know. Juwan Winfrey, Rico Gafford. Like, these are the depth guys for the Packers. I just, at this point, it's like, they're dart throws. It's a crapshoot. I guess keep your ear to the ground in Packers camp, see who's making waves, who's making headlines. But even then, in training camp, like, we've heard so many names be training camp darlings, and then the regular season comes around and they produce minimal results. I know it's Aaron Rodgers we're talking about, so he could elevate the play of damn near anybody. So maybe Randall Cobb. I'm a little worried that Randall Cobb is like on his last legs. Just a smaller player who's taken a beating over the years. I guess it's Alan Lazard by default in the wide receiver department. The ADP of 80 is a little high, but I guess he's listed as Aaron Rodgers wide receiver 1, and with Christian Watson and Sammy Watkins not practicing, that helps him. That helps Alan Lazard. Could be hyper targeted this year, I guess. I don't know. I think I would go. I'm targeting the Packers running backs this year. I'm targeting the Packers running backs this year. Those are the guys I want. I want Aaron Jones. I want AJ Dillon. You can take Alan Lazard, but it's going to cost you a 7th round pick. The opportunity is wide open for Alan Lazard, but also to that point, the opportunity is wide open for any of these guys on the depth chart. I guess Randall Cobb take some of the work. We'll see what Christian Watson can do year 1. We'll see what Romeo can do year 1. Amari Rodgers is in his 2nd year. Maybe that's a decent guy to take a chance on with a year under his belt. Maybe like an Amari Rodgers. It's a wide open competition, so it's like anybody could step up in that Packers offense. And then there's Robert Tonyan, who I do like as a tight end flyer, but it's now his week 1 status is like meh. But still, it doesn't sound like he's I don't think he's in jeopardy of missing the season. So I'd be okay with taking a shot on Tonyan. Ultimately, though, give me Aaron Jones and give me AJ Dillon. That's who I want. That's who I want. And then, is there a chance anyone has 100 catches out of the backfield? Yeah. If they're healthy, Christian McCaffrey and Saquon Barkley. Both of those guys. I know that's a big if, and I know they haven't been healthy recently, especially in the case of McCaffrey, but I follow who I think are sources that I trust on Twitter when it comes to injury analysis, like Edwin Porras, who have said, they are on record, they have gone on record saying Christian McCaffrey's injuries were a pain in the ass at the time, but they're not long-term concerns. There's not longevity issues when it comes to Christian McCaffrey based on the injuries that he has suffered over the past couple of years. If you can swallow that pill, now obviously, if in redraft, you need a top 2 pick to be able to get him. If you have the ability to make trades during the draft and you feel so inclined, Christian McCaffrey is a threat to catch 100 passes this year. He got a modest quarterback upgrade in Baker Mayfield. Say what you want about, okay. I know that Matt Rule is saying that there's going to be a camp battle. It's going to be a camp battle between Baker Mayfield and Sam Darnold and whatever. May the best man win. I think it's going to be Baker Mayfield. They just made the trade for. If it was between Baker Mayfield and Sam Darnold, you already had Sam Darnold. Why'd you trade for Baker Mayfield? And I know neither one of those guys are very good, but I think Baker is better than Sam Darnold. I think it's going to be Mayfield. I think it's a modest enough upgrade where, and honestly, it could be me as their quarterback. It could be anybody as the Panthers quarterback. Christian McCaffrey is quarterback proof. He's situation proof. He proved that when he caught 100 passes when Kyle Allen was taking most of the snaps for the Panthers. Blah. It's Christian McCaffrey. And I know there are people who are worried about him. I know there are never againers when it comes to Christian McCaffrey. There are people who are written off drafting him again because he burned them. Maybe not once, but twice. I get it. I understand. It feels like a huge risk to take. Well, I'll say it again. There are injury analysts. I'm not a doctor. I'm not going to sit here and say that I can diagnose an injury and tell you what that means for the right now and the future. That's why I follow other people to tell me that type of stuff. They believe that Christian McCaffrey's injuries are not something to be concerned about long-term. So if you're not afraid of Christian McCaffrey, that's a guy who can catch 100 balls. And the other guy who could do it is Saquon. And maybe that sounds crazy, But you're talking about, remember when he came out, a generational prospect at the position. He tore his ACL a couple of years ago. He looked like he was rounding into form last year after week 4, suffered a fluke ankle injury week 5. It happened like after the play. I know, it happened, right? Well, it happened, right? So like, how can you call it a fluke? Fine, fair. It happened after the play, like well after the whistle was blown. Like it should never have happened. And it was a high ankle sprain. That derails your season. It does not derail your career. And Saquon, he missed, I think, 3 games? And by the time he returned, it was like, oh, we forgot the Giants still stink. Joe Judge is a boob. Like, the offense was bad. Daniel Jones suffers a neck injury. He goes down. Mike Glennon and Jake Fromm are splitting reps at quarterback. Like, you can't get much worse than that. The offensive line in New York is better. They drafted Evan Neal. I'm blanking on the guy from, was it Notre Dame, the second-round guard that they drafted? Or no, it was UNC, North Carolina. I know it was North Carolina. I'm forgetting his name. But they drafted another guard in the second round, the Giants did. So they bolstered their offensive line. Brian Daboll is the new head coach. This offense should be better, at least a little bit more innovative. You can't get much worse than Joe Judge and Pat Shurmur. Sorry, Giants fans, but it's true. But the glass, like now I'm saying positive things. The Giants offense should be better this year. Saquon Barkley caught 90 balls as a rookie. All of our reports during OTAs, all the reports that we saw was that Saquon Barkley was getting a ton of passes thrown his way. Will he do it? I don't know. 90 is his career high, but he's only ever had like 1 full season healthy his rookie year. The injury rate for running backs is 100%. It hit Saquon a little harder than most the past couple of years. If he's able to stay healthy, if correct here with some positive regression, some positive luck, as opposed to some of the negative luck he's received over the past couple of years, Saquon, I don't know if he does it, but he's a threat. He's a threat for 100 catches. So yeah, catches out of the backfield, 100 catches out of the backfield, McCaffrey, Saquon. And I'm telling you, don't be afraid of either one of them. If you have the second overall pick, take McCaffrey. If you have a pick in the middle of the second round, take Saquon. Swing for the fences. That's what I always say. Swing for the fences. I drafted Saquon first overall a couple of years ago. After Christian McCaffrey's overall RB1 season, he went down week 2, tore his ACL. I still made it to the semifinals of the playoffs. Obviously, the goal is to win, but you can still have a good season, if you swing for the fences and miss. Swing for the highest upside. Always. Always. You just might end up with a dude who puts up big-time RB1 numbers for you every single week. And McCaffrey and Saquon are plenty capable. So, yeah, both of those guys are 100 catch threats out of the backfield. Yeah, Jason, with Watkins. So John has talked at length about this, being a Bills fan. He blames Rex Ryan for Watkins' career shortcomings. John is on record for consistently saying early in Sammy's career, he suffered a Jones fracture. He suffered the foot injury. And Rex Ryan made him play through it. I'll be honest, I don't recall this. I wasn't hyper paying attention to every situation in the league as much as the way I try to now. But John says he blames Rex Ryan, who was the head coach of the Bills when Sammy was drafted. Suffered the Jones fracture, came back too soon, and it wrecked him. And it derailed his career. So maybe he's in it for the money at this point now, Scott. And thanks for joining up. It's good to see you. I don't know what his motivation is at this point. I guess I don't know if he makes the cut at this point. Maybe he doesn't make the team. Feels like the Packers could use him if he's healthy, but if you, I mean, I defer to John, who's not here. He is the Bills fan, but he doesn't blame Sammy for the career shortcomings. He blames the old head coach with with the Stone Age mindset level of thinking of just like rushing players back from injury just because you're technically available doesn't mean you should be out there playing. And it wrecked him. Again, I'm like kind of paraphrasing what John's analysis of the situation, but that's kind of where we stand on Sammy Watkins. I hope he makes the team. I think the Packers could use him, but it looks like he could be a final cut casualty. So we'll see. So yeah, I mean, whoever steps up for the Packers, it feels like generally speaking, their young wide receivers don't always make a big impact. Randall Cobb, I feel like, is the last one to have like a fantasy impact year one. Maybe I'm not even remembering that correctly, but Devontae Adams didn't pop right away. Jordy Nelson didn't pop right away. Now there's much more of a wide open opportunity this year. Devontae Adams isn't there. There's much more wide open opportunity for young players to step up. So let's see what Amari Rodgers can do. Let's see what Juwann Winfrey can do. Let's see what Malik Taylor can do. It'll be interesting to see what the Packers' first depth chart looks like at wide receiver. So keep an eye on that. Keep an eye on that. Johnny wants me to pick between one of two teams. After that, I might be looking to. I'll probably be looking to close this out for today. We have been going for 2.5 hours, and I don't have my running mate with me. And John, again, he's out for probably the rest of this week. He's taking care of family business this week, so obviously he needs to take care of that. Family comes first, of course. But we will be back on Thursday. For the members, we'll be here on Wednesday. I'm not even sure what I'm going to do with you guys yet, but I will absolutely figure something out. I've got a couple of things in mind, but I will be back for Thursday, same time, 6 p.m. Eastern. It'll probably just be a continuation of, training camp has opened. It's the first week of football officially returning. So it's an exciting time. I'm really happy that we have finally reached this point. Preseason is not too far away. I know we can all smell it, guys. I know we can smell that football is coming back. So we got plenty of time here to talk about anything and everything. And as always, any question or general discussion is on the table. But with that said, Johnny, let's take a look at these two teams. Team one's got Dak, got Christian McCaffrey, Aaron Jones. I love that start. Justin Jefferson, CeeDee Lamb, Travis Kelce, Diggs, and Allen Lazard. Team two has Josh Allen, Leonard Fournette, DeAndre Swift, Jamar Chase. Is that DJ Moore? Not DK. Mike Gesicki, Gibson, and Deontay. Man, both teams are loaded. That's for sure. Team two has the clear quarterback advantage. Team one, for me, has the clear running back advantage. Teams are pretty even at wide receiver. Actually, I'll give the slight edge to team one because CeeDee Lamb edges out DJ Moore. And you got Stephon Diggs and Travis Kelce, who is a big upgrade, who was a big difference over team two, over Mike Gesicki. It's team one, Johnny. Yeah. Team two's got good pieces. You got the best quarterback for fantasy in Josh Allen. A great collection of running backs. I love Antonio Gibson. His ADP is way too low. Draft Antonio Gibson in redraft this year. His ADP is like 65. It doesn't make sense. All they did was add Brian Robinson in the draft. I know J.D. McKissick is back, but friggin' Gibson was a running back one in points per game last year with a broken shin. I don't understand it. Gibson's awesome. Draft him. Just draft him. So team two's got the running back advantage, but the other advantages at wide receiver and tight end for team one. Actually, team one doesn't even have a running back disadvantage. They have Christian McCaffrey and Aaron Jones. It's team one, Johnny. Travis Kelce is a significant bump over Mike Gesicki. CeeDee Lamb is a strong enough bump over DJ Moore. Stephon Diggs, I love Antonio Gibson, but if that's a flex position, Stephon Diggs clears. Man, how did Team One get created? That's wild. I love Deontay Johnson. He's leg up over Alan Lazard, but all things considered, it's Team One. It's Team One. Especially because if Team 2 plays Team 1, Team 1 has a stack with Dak throwing to CeeDee. Team 2, Josh Allen is the Team 2 player might lose points or lose the battle when Josh Allen throws to Stephon Diggs if the scoring is normal. Josh Allen throws a touchdown to Stephon Diggs. If it's 4 points for a passing score and 6 points for a receiving score, more points for receiving yards than passing yards, that's a net loss for Team 2. The answer is Team 1, Johnny. I'd rather have Team 1. So yeah. And yeah, I think Dubs went to Nevada. I call him Dubs. I think he went to Nevada. I don't remember if Willis did they play together? I know. Yeah. And Scott, thanks for the assist there. Willis went to Liberty, played for a little while at Auburn. When did they play together? Yeah. Dubs went to Nevada. Yeah. I'm not sure about that one. Did they play together in high school or like on some type of prep team somewhere? I don't recall. Anyway, we have reached the 2.5 hour mark. So I am going to go ahead and shut this one down. Thank you guys so much. This was a ton of fun. You guys really helped me out. Lots of questions in the chat. Really appreciate it. Lots of great talking points today. Hopefully today was helpful for y'all. Let's just do this again on Thursday for you members. We will do this on Wednesday. One last plug for the channel. If you're interested in becoming a member and you're not, there are details in the first link in the description of this video and the first link of the description of all of our recent videos. There are details there. One of the perks does include joining member leagues with us, and we have established a redraft league with some of our members. So really looking forward to that. You don't have to join, but just wanted to call it out. If you're more interested in just keeping the conversation going, you can join our Discord. The Discord you don't have to be a member for. It's the second link in the description of this video. We're building an awesome community over there. Ask questions whenever you want. Bring up general fantasy topics whenever you want. I'm in there as much as I possibly can be, and there's always people active in there. Anyone's happy. I know there's a lot of people in there happy to just talk shop, pick up any questions where I may, if I'm a little slow to the punch, getting to. But the Discord is awesome. Love the community that we're building over there. Just wanted to make sure that I have that spelled out for everybody. But that will do it for me for this evening. Members, I will see you 6 p.m. tomorrow. Everybody else, if you're available Thursday, 6 p.m. Eastern, we'll just continue. This training camp has started. Preseason is getting closer. The season is upon us, everybody. It's an exciting time of the summer. Everybody have a great night. Stay safe. Stay healthy. And I'll see you all later this week. Have a good one, everybody.